We begin with a case that is straining relations between Berlin and Moscow. A long-awaited trial has opened here in Berlin of a Russian man charged with the contract killing apparently ordered by the Kremlin of a 55-year-old. He's accused of the daylight shooting of a former Chechen commander in a park here in Berlin.
Welcome to the capital of spies. The German Spy Museum in Berlin recently added the so-called Tiergarten murder to its exhibits. The man in the advertisement is the alleged contract killer, Vadim Krasikov. This case has all the ingredients of a political thriller. In August of last year, the Russian citizen Vadim Krasikov traveled from Moscow via Paris and Warsaw to Berlin under a false identity. Krasikov is alleged to have approached his victim on a bicycle in a small park in Berlin. The victim was a Chechen exile seeking asylum in Germany. He was killed with 3 gunshots from close range. Krasikov then allegedly threw his gun and bicycle into the nearby river and tried to escape, but was caught shortly afterwards. He was arrested and has been silent ever since.
That's a special situation that in this case we have the suspect, we have the person who is accused about murder. So we have evidence, we have the fingerprints, we have pictures. If you compare it with a Skripal case or with a Navalny case, we didn't have any person that we can question. So I think this is a quite unique situation right now.
According to investigators, data on Krasikov's mobile phone indicates that the crime was carefully planned. They say they have found links to the Russian Veterans Association of the Domestic Intelligence Service FSB, which several investigative journalists believe is just a cover.
We can
see that Vadim Krasikov, the killer, started visiting FSB training centers as early as spring 2019. Employees are prepared for special operations there. As the day of the murder approached, he communicated more and more often with FSB employees. Towards the end, it was almost every day.
The victim, Zelimkhan Khangushvili, had fought on the side of the rebels in the Second Chechen War. Moscow had designated him a terrorist.
This man was on our wanted list. He's a fighter, a cruel and bloodthirsty person.
The Kremlin denies any responsibility for the attack. None of Germany's 17 inquiries received a response. At most 2 requests for legal assistance were answered inadequately, say the German authorities. Berlin's tone towards Moscow is sharpening.
The federal government reserves the right to take further measures in this case.
The German federal prosecutor may have brought charges against Vadim Krasikov, but political leaders say that in reality, the Russian state is in the dock.
Let's go now live to the court where this trial started today in DW's Emmanuel Shahs. Good day to you, Emmanuel. Can you tell us more about the prosecutor's case against the defendant?
Well, all indicators point towards Russian ties to this murder. The suspect traveled here in Germany under a false identity, but with a Russian passport. Also, when he was arrested, he immediately received support and was visited by Russian officials from the Russian embassy here in Berlin. And as we heard in the report, he was in the days prior to the murder in touch with Russian intelligence services. So that's the case against him. There was a very short session here in court today, which already ended, where the prosecution was read out, and tomorrow the session will resume with witnesses coming to testify here in court. There are 7 co-plaintiffs in that case.
Emmanuel, these proceedings come as the relations between Germany and Russia are very strained.
They are very strange, and also, and not least, because Russia declined to assist the German investigation. There were 17 requests, as we've heard in the report from the German government towards Russia. Also, Foreign Minister Heiko Maas traveled to Russia to try and talk with the authorities there. So that's a case that's really strained the relationship, and this trial comes at a time where the tensions are at their peak between the two countries, with the Alexei Navalny's poisoning case. And just as the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons confirmed that Alexei Navalny, a Russian opponent to Vladimir Putin, has been poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok. This is a nerve agent which was developed by the Russian intelligence services back in the 70s. So tensions are have really risen between Germany and Russia.
With all this in mind, how might the German government react should the court agree with the prosecution that Russia was behind the killing?
Well, should those ties be proven to exist between Russian authorities and that murder, then Germany would probably most likely take action. The Foreign Minister, Heiko Maas, said that he would wait until the verdict, until Germany will make a decision. But let's not forget that Germany is also holding the EU presidency up until the end of this year, and will also be wanting and willing to impose sanctions against Russia, perhaps at a European level, and this could, for example, take the form of economic sanctions.
And we'll have much more on this trial, of course, as it moves forward. Emmanuel, for now, thanks so very much.